Searching for a new doctor? Our own Dr. Ed Geehr is here with your checklist. I'm Ron Caporale, and this is House Calls. Finding a new doctor can be like going on a blind date. He or she might be the top referral in town, but are they the right one for you? Oftentimes, it all comes down to that first office visit. Lifescript's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Ed Geehr, is with us again today to discuss tips for evaluating a new doctor. And here's a hint. It doesn't necessarily include fancy diplomas or celebrity clientele. Ed, good morning again.
Good morning,
Good to
Ron.
see you. So how important is it to really find the right doctor for you? Does it really matter, or is it like a mechanic? Hey, I've got something wrong, just fix it.
No, unfortunately, we're unique animals, each of us, and we need to find that right match. So I think communication is probably the most important thing. Is this a doctor that really can listen to you, understand what you're saying and what your true needs are? That's a very important thing. The consequence of that is that they're more likely to get information from you that's going to be relevant and important, and you're more likely to disclose things to them that you might not be willing to share with a doctor that you don't have any rapport with.
Right. So now we all know that men hardly go to the doctor and women are the one that make most of the healthcare decisions. So what do women really look for in a physician?
They look for somebody who will listen, who has empathy and compassion for them, who may consider alternative treatments to traditional therapies and medicines. They want somebody who will really take in the whole person in making the decision about a course of treatment.
And what personality types in physicians are better for men and for women? Does it vary?
Well, I think, it's a little bit like shopping. Men like to go in, get it done, and get out. And so they're more comfortable with a doctor that cuts right to the chase, tells them what's going on, gives them the prescription, they get out of the office door.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar. Women, on the other hand, are more comfortable with a doctor that's willing to engage them, listen to their concerns, listen to the range of impacts it's having on their life, and come up with a more holistic approach to their problems.
And are referrals always the best place to start? What are the resources out there for finding a doctor?
Sure. Referrals are a great place to start, but they shouldn't be the only place that you go. Some of the places I tell people to go, for example, is go check. Each state has a licensing body that's online. Go to the Medical Licensing Board, enter the name, and make sure there's no disciplinary actions, suspensions, or other effects on the physician's license. There are also a number of websites out there that rate doctors.
I was going to ask, the online rating services, are they reliable?
Well, they're not great yet. Sometimes, you can get some decent feedback on a doctor, but occasionally somebody's on a rant about a particular doctor and it may not be reflective of their entire practice. So I ask people to look at those, but that's not your sole source of information.
Okay, so I finally choose a doctor. I walk into the office, see the setup, talk to the people. What am I looking for?
Boy, you can tell a lot walking into a doctor's office. If it's disorganized, if it hasn't been cleaned, if the office staff aren't paying attention to you, they treat you like a number, not like a person, that's probably not going to be a great place for you to continue to see the doctor in.
So this was something interesting we found. A recent study says that 1 in 8 patients change doctors once, at least annually. That can't be good.
Well, it can be good too. For example, the reasons that may be happening is because it's not working. You're not getting better. The treatment's not effective. It's not working for you.
And what are the clues that it's not working?
Well, the first one is it's not working. You're not getting any better. I mean, that's the one I'd go with to start with. You don't feel you have any rapport with the doctor, or they're always rushed, or the doctor may send in a nurse practitioner or somebody else to see you instead of themselves, and they drop by and just say hi and pat you on the back. Those are signs that it's maybe not the right match for you.
So what mistakes do women commonly make when choosing a doctor?
They may rely exclusively on referrals from friends, and although that's not a bad place to start, you want to do a little more digging than that.
And not a good idea generally to use your OB-GYN as your primary physician?
You can. It's not a bad choice, particularly when you're younger, and most of your medical problems are going to be related to obstetrical and gynecological issues. However, if you have chronic conditions, or you're postmenopausal and now you're developing some chronic disorders, that's where you want to engage an internist or a family doctor who's more accustomed to taking care of a broader range of health conditions.
Now, when you're shopping for a doctor, is it fair to go in and say, hey, this is an interview? I'm talking to one or two other doctors. I want to get to meet you and see if we click. Is that sort of a fair visit?
It is. It's an absolute fair thing to do, and the doctor's reaction to that will speak volumes as to how receptive they are to engaging you personally.
How available should my doctor be to me?
Well, you want them to be responsive. Now, doctors are busy, and they're getting busier all the time, but you want them to be able to return a call within a day, the same day if possible.
And reasonable to expect that the doctor himself will return a call?
What typically will happen is the nurse or the office manager will call you, get you on the phone, and then connect you with the doctor. So you should be able to hear. Some doctors have set it up so it's easier to access them, for example, by the internet, by email and so forth. And that's a wonderful development. And so I would also look for a doctor who's willing to engage you in more electronic media that can be more spontaneous and not necessarily coordinated in the exact time of connecting the two of you.
Now, what about signing up for a concierge practice? Is that worth it? I mean, I do it. I've got my doctor's cell phone number, his email address, but that's me. I get a little crazy. For the average person, is that worth it?
Well, I could tell you, if you can afford it, it's absolutely worth it, because as primary care doctors get more pressed for time, have to see more patients in a day, you'll wish you had a doctor who could spend more time with you, and clearly concierge physicians can. On the other hand, it's not for everybody, and not everybody can afford it. The key thing is to find that doctor that you have rapport with who isn't necessarily going to charge you out of pocket just for the privilege of seeing them.
So, and a lot of people are looking for Marcus Welby, right? I mean, you know, the old adage, you know, the old gray-haired doctor, necessarily better because they've been around longer?
Well, you certainly want someone with experience. On the other hand, you want somebody who is also up to date on the medical literature. Now, if a doctor is board certified, regardless of age, that means they have probably recertified, and that means they are up to speed. So just because you're older doesn't mean that you know less. On the other hand, because you're younger doesn't mean you know more. I'm looking for the doctor that hits the sweet spot. You have good rapport, and you have confidence in their knowledge.
How about the idea of doctors treating their friends or relatives? Is that against the law, or
it's
just
not against
bad
the
practice?
law, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah, and what about getting friendly with your doctor? I have a few friends that end up, you know, going out socially with their doctors and so forth. What are the pitfalls there?
In my experience, when you get to know someone personally or they're related to you, you don't treat them in the same way that you treat your other patients. Well, you may not be as forthcoming or be willing to get into areas that are considered sensitive areas for them personally, that would give them greater insight into their family situation, things they might not want to disclose to you on a personal basis. So I think generally I would not want to befriend my doctor, be friendly, but don't create a social relationship with them. I think that can interfere with the engagement of the doctor as a professional.
Are there any questions that someone should absolutely ask on their first visit to a new doctor?
Yeah, there are 5 that I recommend, and they include, why am I on this medication? Do I need to continue to be on it? Are there certain shots or immunizations I need? As we get older, we need injections just like children do. What screening tests do I need as I age? I'd also want to know, is there anything in my family history that might create a problem for me as I get older? And finally, I'd say, is there anything I should change about my lifestyle choices that could make me healthier?
Absolutely. Okay, Dr. Ed Geehr, thanks for joining us again, as always. It's an important topic.
I agree.
Yeah. And for more information on getting the most out of your doctor-patient relationship, visit our website at www.lifescript.com. From Los Angeles, I'm Ron Caporale.